Hello everyone, and welcome to my presentation on marrow transplant. I've been interested in this subject for quite some time. What made me to tell you today about donating marrow? A couple of years ago, a younger friend of mine fell sick of a cancer, blood cancer. While visiting him in hospital, I met the volunteers who were working for Drużyna Szpiku, marrow team. That's a charity which encourages everyone to donate marrow. Before I tell you how marrow is being extracted, let me tell you what marrow is. Generally speaking, we may compare it to a huge factory inside our body. Factory which produces healthy blood. But what does this factory look like? Marrow is soft, intensely blooded tissue with a spongy structure. It's primarily located in our long bones. Well, how is this factory working? It works all day and night for all of our lifetime. And its outputs are red blood cells, white blood cells, and blood platelets. It all looks perfect when we are healthy, when we don't have diseases, but what happens if our factory of blood, healthy blood, breaks down? Our immunity system goes down, and we can get sick. We are lucky with just anemia. But the breakdown may be harder. Then the diagnosis could be life-threatening. It's a cancer. There are a lot of methods to cure cancer. But in this type of cancer, the blood cancer, normally the most effective method is marrow transplant, the transfusion of life. This therapy consists of two stages. First of all, the defective tissue, the marrow working inappropriately, has to be eliminated. The next step is to infuse into the patient veins the healthy bone marrow donor cells. And if this procedure is successful, the new marrow will start producing new healthy blood cells. Well, who can be a marrow donor? It could be practically any of us. But we must be of age. This means we have to be 18 years old at least, and we have to be in good shape. So we have to be generally healthy. A donor may be the patient's relative, for example, parents or siblings, but this works only in 25 to 30% of all incidences. In all remaining cases, an unrelated donor has to be found. This is very often, this is like looking for a needle in a haystack, because in order for transplant to be successful, a genetic twin is needed. To join the bone marrow registry, we'll have to fill in a questionnaire. Besides that, our genetic material will be taken for analysis. It will be either 12 mm blood sample or a swab of cheek cells. The whole procedure takes only 30 minutes. It's important to make a conscious choice, so you don't resign when they call you. We will have a genetic twin who needs your help. You will be tested again. Let me tell you now about extracting marrow. There are two methods. The marrow can be extracted from the lower quadrant and from the peripheral blood. The first method is used very rarely. The second method is used in 80% of cases, and the procedure takes only 3 to 4 hours. For reasons of safety and sterility, extracting marrow from the lower quadrant requires surgery. The operation is done under complete anesthesia. First, the region of puncture is thoroughly disinfected. And then, by means of a special needle, the necessary quantity of marrow, normally about 1 liter, but it depends on the height and weight of the recipients, is extracted. The operation takes about 1 hour, but it depends on the necessary quantity of marrow. And afterwards, the patient is awakened after the anesthesia wears off. But the patient has to remain in hospital until the next day to regain consciousness. This method is applied in roughly 20% of all incidences. The second method is much easier to apply. It consists of extracting stem cells from the donor's peripheral blood. Before having the stem cells extracted, the donors receive specific medication to enhance stem cells production for 5 days. And then the donor doesn't need to be hospitalized because his blood is taken from one arm vein and conducted through a filter that separates the blood cells from the stem cells from the blood. After being processed, the blood is pumped back into the donor's veins for the second arm vein. Well, donating marrow isn't just a theory. I met a real donor. It's Mateusz, an English teacher, a young man whose marrow saved a boy of 8. I interviewed Mateusz about how it felt donating marrow. The most important things he told me is that donating marrow doesn't hurt, and it is worth it because now he has a little genetic twin and he feels that he's his son. Well, and so I will leave you with a question. What is more important than giving someone his life back? Thank you.